My daughter's 4.5, and during 2020, my wife and I had to be pretty creative in how to make a birthday enjoyable when none of her friends could be there, and she didn't get to spend it with both sets of her grandparents. However, her birthday is in April and usually around Easter. So, what did we do? The most epic single-person egg hunt in history. Mix that with the scavenger hunt left by the Easter Bunny, we were set. However, we had no idea what we had just done. This kid fell in love with scavenger hunts. And she's not in love with the candy or the prize at the end. She is in love with the finding, the looking, the hunting for that next clue. You think your job is hard, you try finding new ways to go down to your playground. Her joy comes from the hunt. I, on the other hand, have really grown away from that mentality. It's really easy for us to reach a peak and say, I am content and happy with where I am at. However, I was raised to never settle. I was always told that I could achieve more and to look past where I was at. How was I going to get that same joy from the scavenger hunt I was on in my life? Looking back on when I was younger, the first time I really remember finding a clue on the scavenger hunt was with my grandmother, whose name Nani is more affectionately known by everyone. My Nani was this stunning 5'2" Polynesian woman. And the side I saw of her a lot when I was younger was the side of her that had a problem with drinking. Now, it was not an everyday thing, it wasn't an around-the-clock thing, but it was a problem. But there was so much more of my Nani to love, admire, and respect. She was a caring woman, she was a loving woman, she was responsible for me falling in love with my favorite fruit of all time, pears. And as I grew, I learned what a strong, fierce woman she was. She started out as a file clerk in the company she would eventually retire from and was responsible for the complete automation of that office. She worked day and night, year after year, to become a strong force to be reckoned with. Years later, I saw this same woman fight tooth and nail against cancer. Through it all, she stayed my strong, proud Nani. I learned from her that you fight no matter what, and that even if it takes time, being a good person is something that never is an easy task. We're gonna fast forward to my first date with this really cute, bubbly blonde that was part of the same Disney internship I was in. I worked the rides, she worked with the characters. We were a real-life West Side Story with just a little bit more singing and dancing. I'm kidding, there wasn't that much dancing. But Heather was the definition of small but fierce. And I would eventually find out that her mother was one of 5 girls, each stronger and more independent than the next. So it was obvious why she was such a strong, confident woman. This young lady, she pushed me, she challenged me, she put up with most of my attitude. She encouraged me to go for leadership positions I didn't think I stood a chance at getting, and constantly edited resumes for me over the years. This was the second clue in my life to realize I needed to marry this woman that drove me to be the leader I strove to be every single day. We're gonna jump again to when my beautiful daughter Bailey was born, and Heather and I had to have that very tough conversation about how expensive childcare was. We decided what was going to be best for our family was for my beautiful wife to stay home and raise our daughter. Fortunately, I had just received a position as a site manager of a child development center pretty close to our house. If there was ever a time where the scavenger hunt I was on in my life was challenging, it was gonna be over the next couple of years. I learned that there are some employers and businesses that don't value their customers or guest service the same way I did. Shocker, I know. And at 32, this was a really hard lesson for me to learn, but it gave me the opportunity to see another really fierce woman at work. Organizations need to take solace in the fact that sometimes the short-term losses will definitely be outweighed by the long-term benefits. So when my job decided to fire me based off of my views of customer service, the little bit of HR knowledge I had when they offered me my severance package wasn't enough. So my all-knowing HR mother swooped in, took one look at the severance package, said, yeah, I'm going to be coming with you tomorrow when you talk to the owner. There's language in here that needs to be changed. What do you say in that situation other than, okay, Mom, and thank you? That day, she was professional, she was confident, she was calm, she was everything that I had seen in her growing up. And that ability to stay calm, confident, has resonated and impacted every interaction I've had in my life. My mom has always said, you got 24 hours to be sad, and you got to pick yourself up and you got to move on, which is exactly what I did. I had been working since I was 16 and had never been fired, but I had a wife, a daughter, and 2 cats, both girls, by the way, that I needed to take care of. The clue I got in this part of my life was that you adapt no matter what. I picked up job skills and quickly that I never thought I would because I had to take care of those that I loved. I would eventually get a phone call from a former Disney colleague of mine who is now working at Glen Ivy Hot Springs in Corona, and she had a leadership position that she needed to fill, and if I knew anyone who might be interested in the position, I might know someone. I was now the Glen Ivy Grotto Hot Springs Guest Service Supervisor. I had no idea what that meant. For those of you who've never been, Glen Ivy Hot Springs, the Grotto, is a subterranean cave-like experience meant to soften, rehydrate, and moisturize your skin. A really fancy way of saying we're gonna slap expensive lotion on your skin, make you sit in a sauna for 15 minutes and shower it off. My boss, Marty, at the time, she took me into this hollowed out cave that is undergoing a $500,000 renovation and said she wanted me to be in charge. This woman knew my past, my work history, and that I'd never done something like this before in my entire life, and told me, you'll be great. So I dug deep, I found my fierce, and tried to walk in as humbly as I could into an operation that was already established. I was now in charge of the only non-massage or traditionally spa-based treatment in this entire operation that made a decent amount of money. And as I could tell by some of the laughter out there, a lot of you have been, so you know that this is a focal point for a lot of our guests. And I walked in saying, okay, let's see what I can do. Let's see how I can take this to the next level. Where one of my leadership team felt the need to come up to me one day when I was working on things and tell me, you don't really need to fix things. We work really well when we're a complete shit show. I don't work that way. I was able, in the time that I was there, to take this operation. I cut its labor costs by 6% while still keeping its guest satisfaction up. Led it to its first $10 million fiscal year. And I was the foundational blueprints by which every department in operations had to write their COVID-19 reopening procedures. For the first time, really, in my working career, thanks to Marty, I actually felt accomplished in what I had done. And then COVID hit. And I was one of those fortunate employees who got to get furloughed. When furlough number 3 hit, which I saw a mile away, by the way, I knew it was time for me to look past Glen Ivy and where I was going to go next. What was the next step on the scavenger hunt I was on? The answer to that came in the Ponte Vineyard Inn. I am now the guest service supervisor of this gorgeous little boutique four-diamond hotel in wine country Temecula. My current manager, her name is Caitlin, and she is this strong, fierce World of Warcraft gamer who, if she's asking me to jump for our guest, it's because she's already jumping 10 feet higher. She constantly leads by example by putting not only our guests first, but our associates as well. I am very fortunate to have such a strong leader in Caitlin because she's constantly reminding me what it means to be a fierce leader. This scavenger hunt I've been on in my life has been full of challenges. I have sometimes seen clues with ease, and there have been times I've had to squint and turn my head to the side to even see remotely what I'm looking at. But through it all, I continually remind myself that at no point will everything make sense. At no point will I ever be done. And at those points where I think and I am content with where I'm at, I need to look further and to go past what I'm seeing in front of me. My daughter hates to see a scavenger hunt end. She is constantly, even at the end, going, what's next? Where are we going to now? And I know I need to have that joy and excitement in order to be a much stronger, fierce version of me.